the first of these try it exercises from 1.1 gives you this information in a table and asks you if you can define functions with it. So fine, it gives you these 5 baseball players who they say are the 5 greatest of all time. That's debatable, but whatever. And rank them. And part A is saying, could you create a function where, so I'll create my little function diagram or flow chart, where the input would be the player's name and the output would be the rank on this list. So could you do that? Would that be a function? And the answer is yes. And the reason why is this really important criteria for being a function is that really it's easier to describe what's not a function. It's not a function if one input is associated with 2 different outputs. So how would that happen? I don't know, if I had Babe Ruth 1 and then I had Babe Ruth again 4. Or maybe instead of Babe Ruth I had like John Smith or something, or some more common name. Whatever. If I had the same input associated with multiple outputs, it would not be a function. But that didn't happen. I have 5 different inputs here that are all being ranked. So yeah, sure, that'd be a function and look just like this, no problem. Part B is asking you, would things still work if you kind of flipped them around? Could you create a function where the input was the rank and the output was the player's name? And again, you could, right? I could give you 3 as the input and you would give me Ty Cobb as the output, and 4 as the input, and Walter Johnson as the output. That's totally fine because each input here, each rank, is associated with exactly 1 output. So the answer to both of these questions is yes. I like to give kind of counterexamples to explain to people what would not work. So I'm going to add a part C to this. Okay, imagine a different chart. And what I have are the best baseball players, the 10 best baseball players, and the number that they wore. So I got Babe Ruth, and he wore, I think he was number 3, whatever number he was. And Willie Mays wore number 24. You may or may not know that. My favorite baseball player of all time was Ricky Henderson. I grew up in Oakland. I was a huge Oakland A's fan. Ricky was awesome. He also wore number 24. If I have a list of the 10 best players, Willie Mays is on the list, but so is Ricky Henderson. And instead of the rank here, suppose I put the number that they wore. I would have Willie Mays as 24, and I would have Ricky Henderson as 24. So suppose you have a whole different question here where I'm listing players, and instead of rank, I'm listing their uniform number. And then re-ask these questions A and B. Is the uniform number a function of the player name? Yeah, sure, the answer would still be yes. Because you give me a player like Willie Mays, and I'll tell you his number, 24. Give me a player, Ricky Henderson, I'll tell you his number, 24, no problem. Is the player name a function of the uniform number? Then the answer would be no. So to be clear, if I give you a whole nother chart and it was players and uniform numbers, and my player list included Willie Mays and Ricky Henderson, both of whom wore the number 24, then the answer to a similar question like part B would be no. Because if you put the number 24 into the machine would attempt to give you back Willie Mays and Ricky Henderson. And that would be violating this super important criteria here. So maybe I'm beating this to death and doing a question that's not even asked, but I thought that might help people to talk through, yeah, the answer to both of these are yes. What would it look like if the answer was no?